So we're here this evening with John Eric, and we're here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're at the Realm event.
We are.
And John, tell us where you came from today.
That's a great question. I flew in from London to DC and then DC to here.
And you have an exciting launch. I want to really drop that tidbit now because I think it can set the tone for the conversation.
Sure.
You have 2 new locations that you're going to have a very large presence in. So tell us about that.
So we have expanded our group. We've changed the name to the Luxury Collective Global Advisory. And in doing so, we announced 2 new markets today.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll now service London, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and New York.
New York. It's quite a story behind that. You really felt the impetus to transition our business to London. That was your first leg of this journey.
My favorite city in the world.
That's right. And I have read quite a bit about this lovely transition, and all of the graphics that you're sending us around the world make us feel like we're living there with you.
Yep.
And you really mentioned that this is what most feels like home to you. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've had a 30-year love affair with London.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are cities or places you go around the world that you feel you belong.
Yeah. Okay.
And as I graduated uni and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to have an adult relationship with London just solidified the fact how much I love it, how much I feel at home.
Right.
I've carved out a life there before I decided to sell real estate. So I have tons of family by choice.
Okay.
I've got my neighborhood. I've got my grocery store. I got my dry cleaner. I've already had all that stuff.
Right.
So the ability to then take my love of that city, turn it into a business to help Americans in particular, that's kind of our niche.
Right. That's such a special way to curate what your destination looks like and what the history of John Eric and now the collective will look like.
Yep.
Your knowledge and the relationships is really what has grown this business. And by you establishing these relationships, tell us a little bit about how you were able to do that and how it drew you into these other locations as well beyond DC and London.
I was very fortunate in my kind of past lives that I had a stint in politics in DC, which kind of gave me access to a certain type of clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And I also worked in media. Okay. So in DC, you're either a politician, a lawyer, a lobbyist, or you work in media.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of checked a lot of those boxes, which allowed me, when I went into the real estate part of my life, to really kind of cultivate a lot of amazing individuals. DC led me to London because there's so much cross penetration between the 2 cities.
Right.
And then London has now led me back to Los Angeles and New York, primarily within the entertainment clients that we deal with.
Okay.
So on the American side of the equation, inbound to London, Amazon Prime, Netflix, large US-based studios and production houses are setting up larger footprints in the UK, primarily London, which feeds me back to LA. Hence the reason I'm back in my hometown of Los Angeles. And it leads you to New York for both theater, film, and television as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of cross penetration between actors coming out of Broadway heading to the West End. So all of those markets feed each other, which is kind of why we've done what we've done.
So it's really an engine that got started and is just getting more and more powerful.
It is.
How do you choose individuals who will represent and be the voice for you while you're traveling among these 4 locations? How are you represented?
So I've always had a really amazing team and business partners in DC, which gives me the flexibility to migrate to London. We've built an amazing team, boots on the ground there. And so for our London business in particular, the criteria for working for us is that you had to speak American, meaning you had to be able to translate what happens to the UK back to American terms, that you had to have a long shelf life with working with Americans.
Right.
We're faster, we're quicker, we want things now.
Yes.
It's the way we do business here. And so what we did is we took an American real estate firm and overlaid it to a UK real estate agency.
Okay.
And it's our niche. So everything that they do in the UK, we translate it back to Americans. Now, on the LA, New York side of the equation, it is really kind of best in class. I'm building out a team.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough. I know a lot of people.
Yes.
We've been in this business for a long time.
That's right.
And I built a track record over the years of people wanting to work with me.
Okay.
From a referral side all the way through to just, hey, if you ever create something here, let me know. So I've been able to kind of build out relatively fast. And I'm looking for a person that's like me.
Right.
The client first, your ability to communicate effectively not waste anybody's time,
Right.
and make sure that you're providing the added value in the white glove, high touch
Yes.
that I want. If you cannot do kind of just the basic fundamentals, then we're not a match. But
Right.
I've been very fortunate with being the right people in the right place at the right time.
And people seek you out because they look at your level of discretion, your level of excellence, and your white glove service that sets the standard. And so people are drawn to that, I would say, in your sphere and who you work with, but also in your client base.
Correct.
That's right. So then how will you build upon this? Because this is such a great chapter, but then what's next? Where are you thinking now that this is in motion?
So, I mean, put it bluntly, I've created the life I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you create the life you want to live, you're better at what you do.
Right.
And I said earlier today, I didn't think I'd like to be on a plane as much as I'm on a plane.
Okay.
And I gravitated to that. And I think what I really love is I can deal with a client in London and then I can be on a plane and see them in New York, or I can see them in LA, or if they're in DC. I'm that continuity between all of the markets.
Right.
And so future, we're probably going to add cities as we need to, solely based on the ultra high net worth individuals that we tend to deal with.
Right.
The private wealth, the family offices, and private wealth and family offices fundamentally means the same thing.
Sure.
We just use different sayings for them. But the ability for me to really kind of carve out some uniqueness within the sports and entertainment arena too is something that we're really doing.
Okay.
And we'll add cities as we need to.
Okay, that makes sense.
Florida, here we come.
Yeah, your niche in Florida, we're going to gravitate a little bit to kind of bounce that off of 30A. So there's now a direct flight to Miami from 30A. So in your vision, how do you see that potentially broadening your client base's interest, perhaps in that location for asset placement and real estate expansion?
Listen, I think if you're coming with pounds and you're buying in the United States, you have better buying power than reverse. And I think when you're coming out of the United Kingdom, depending on where you sit within London and so forth, Florida has always been in a very attractive state.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for them to get to.
Right.
It's quicker to get to.
Yeah.
And the ability, and so many people know Orlando with their kids, with Disney World.
Yes,
I think your particular area of the world is so unique. The white sandy beaches, it's very different than being in Miami, Palm Beach, or Broward County. It's kind of this unique little lifestyle, and I feel it's incredibly appealing to Brits. They need to know more about it,
right?
And that's kind of this relationship that we have here, the ability to build upon.
And I think just getting the word out, and what was really important, Abigail Posner kind of peeled away the onion, and she let us know that not only are you getting to understand your client and the individual needs of the client, but you're asking them their why, which makes them pause to think about, what is my why? And it's up to us as advisors to draw that out of them to help them discover that.
I think with the people that I deal with in particular, because they have so many gatekeepers, it's what is the value you bring to them. And for me, it's the continuity between the cities. It's going outside of that resi conversation into commercial and retail assets as well.
Okay.
Because what you've seen over the last really 16 to 18 months is the amount of Americans are buying outside of the continental United States.
Yeah.
So whether it's a UK conversation, it's Spain, Portugal, Italy, wherever it might be, people are looking to liquidate out of USD and put their money into other asset allocations and other currencies. And so it's allowed us to have really unique, very specific conversations. So when we go back to the why, that's how we start out all of these, which is what's driving this decision? Where are you leading to? What's the 5, 10, 15-year plan?
Right.
Because you cannot move by outside of the United States without tax ramifications.
Sure, that's true.
And so you have to kind of roll that into any equation that you're doing, specifically when you're inbound to the United Kingdom. So those are really kind of important organic conversations.
Right.
And once you've established that you bring value, these individuals tend to open up.
Yes.
You know, it's earned. It's not given.
Right.
You've got to be able to kind of articulate all of those things, what you'll do, how you'll do it. And I think we've been incredibly successful with that.
Right.
Because we're not, and there's nothing wrong with this. So nobody out there take it wrong, but we just dive deeper. You know, how does your acquisition in London feed back to your property in Los Angeles?
Right.
How does your acquisition of commercial space in the UK filter into the overall portfolio? And what's the long-term acquisition of this asset? How long do you want to hold it? What are you willing to hold it for?
Right.
All of those things come into the conversation because a buy just isn't a buy anymore.
No, that's right. And so if you were to give one quick tip before we wrap up from
Sure.
a tax saving standpoint, and people are maneuvering their money out of the USD, so it's important to have an advisor.
Yes.
To guide you in doing that. So is there a short snippet you can give us on that?
Listen, I think the smartest individual in the world is one that has incredible people on both sides of the Atlantic. I think where we run in and we provide a lot of value is that, again, we go back to the tax ramifications.
Right.
Having somebody who really understands US, UK tax compliance is crucial.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans get screwed up because they go over there and they don't realize all the things that could go wrong.
Right.
And then there's a problem with both HMRC and the IRS.
Right.
So yes, build out a really good ecosystem, have the right people to plug and play, make sure that you're putting the right solicitor with the right client.
Yes.
You can't have just one in your toolbox.
Right.
Make sure you've got the right tax advisor who knows US, UK stuff, or wherever it is, whether it's Italy, Spain, Portugal,
exactly.
all of that. I mean, your home state of Florida is very advantageous.
That's right.
To those looking for certain tax benefits, much more so than, you're kind of the belle of the ball in the United States these days, Florida.
That's right. So we look forward to seeing greater expansion in Florida with your collective group, and we look forward to seeing the circle of life that you've created, John Eric.
Listen, I'm excited to come visit you in 30A.
All right.
Show me around.
I will.
Yes, all to the.
All right. Cheers to that.
Cheers.